major points out of the notes that I take from like all these training Zooms, and I just put them in here. So I have that one place to revert back to, and I could do a training Zoom with my future team on this, or, whatever. So like, thank you guys, all of you top leaders, for giving me good points. And I put it in my own spin. I put my own spin on it. So, you know.
Love it, love it. Organization. We're going to get into that a little bit because that's really helped me the last couple of weeks. So this is probably, I don't see anybody else trying to jump in. So we're just going to roll with it, and recording so that we can share this with everybody who wants to catch it on the replay. But like I said, I want to keep track of the time tonight and try not to keep you guys too long, but I do have something I want to go through with you. I know we talk about mindset a lot. And I know I've explained to you guys that I had a very slow growing season in the beginning of my business, and it was 100% was because of mindset. And so my job as your leader is not to teach you like tips and tricks and social media, making it pretty and how to sign people. While that's all great, all of that can be found in our team page, right? But the most important thing that you will ever learn in this business is how to control your mind. And I want to go into that a little bit. And you might be like, Amber, we talk about mindset all the time. But listen, I thought I had my mindset in check until the day after Christmas. And I jumped on a FaceTime call with Katie, and she said, "You're in your head." She said, "You got to get out of here." And I said, "Well, I don't feel like I'm in my head." And she goes, "Right?" And I had to check myself even after I thought I already had it good. After I already said, I've been reading all these books, I've been listening to all this self-development, like I'm good, but I really wasn't. And I'll share a little bit about what I've been doing since the beginning of the year. But the two most important days that you will have in your business will be the day that you join and the day you decide to go all in. And I cannot tell you what that's going to feel like, but I can tell you that it's not when you sign a rock star. It's not when you earn a bonus. It's not anything like that. It is 100% everything that has to do with your mindset and you just saying, I'm emotionally all in. Right? Like nobody's going to F with me. I'm trying not to cuss tonight. Like nobody's going to F with me. I'm not going to listen to the opinions of so-and-so. I'm not going to worry about this or worry about that or how many likes I got on a post or anything like that. It's when you can show up, be emotionally all in for your business because you know what you have your hands on. Okay. And I want to talk about mindset in our business. I'm going to give you the analogy of the beach. Has everybody been to the beach? Karen's never been to the beach. Lord help us. Karen, okay, so we're going to talk about it a little bit, okay? You've seen pictures of the beach, you've seen videos of the beach, right? Okay.
Beach, Karen.
Karen. We're all going down to see Harriet. All right. So, or Amory. Anyways, the beach. I want you to think about, you got your sand is your safe place, right? Your sand is your safe place where you have the capability of either putting your toes in that water, or you can safely step away because you are in control of that, right? Then you've got the part where maybe you're ankle deep and it's just like a little gentle water on your ankles. Then you go from like gentle water on your ankles to like anywhere between knee deep and shoulder deep. Like you're lucky if it's a really windy day and the waves are chopping, if you don't get dragged down. Okay. There's like this little undertow right there. And if you can get past that, if you've ever pushed yourself to go past that in the beach, in the ocean, you know that once you get past that point, the waves may be big, but it's calm out there, right? And I want you to think about your mindset in this business the same way, because you're going to have that safety zone of your fears that keep you from playing the game. You're going to have that safety zone of, well, I'll just make a post instead of doing a Facebook Live, right? I've been there. I'm like preaching myself, but you're going to have this safety zone where you could choose not to do certain things for your business. One day, maybe it will be a bold conversation with a potential. Maybe it will be a bold conversation with somebody who's on your team, right? It's these moments that we get to choose what we're going to do with it. You're either going to be in that safety zone, that fear zone, or you're going to step into it. You're going to learn how to push through that undertow, and you're going to get to the point where it's smooth sailing. Have you ever heard that before? It's smooth sailing. It's once you get past that point, because you're always going to have this moment where there's going to be ups and downs in this business. There's going to be moments where you're like, oh my God, this is great. Like my paycheck is great. And then somebody leaves your team, right? And then you're going to have another moment where you're like, oh my gosh, yes, like however many people just joined me this week, whatever. And then two people leave and they take four people with them. Like there's going to be these moments where you're doing great in your business again. And then all of a sudden life comes and smacks you in the face, right? You're going to have these moments, and it's what we do with the undertow. It's, do we let the undertow take us back to the beach, or do we keep swimming? Do we push through to get to calm waters? Okay, I want you to think about your mindset in this business that way. And if I could go back and talk about when I thought that I went all in my business, it would be November. No, it would be October when I was pushing for 4K. It was October of 2019 when I was pushing for 4K. Okay. And I decided at that moment, my tracker wasn't going to hold me back. The fact that I was thousands away from achieving my goal wasn't going to hold me back. I looked at my tracker and I said, you know what? F a tracker. I was like, I'm just going to keep running. Right. And then they drop things like tag team, where you can see thousands of dollars in volume in one day when you have tag team and you have customers that want to tag with a friend, right? There's miracles that can happen in this business. But I remember at that moment, remember I told you I wrote myself a $4,000 check and I slept with it under my pillow because I was like, this is happening. This is mine. I am claiming this. I'm going all in. And at that point, it didn't matter what other people thought about me, right? It didn't matter if anybody liked or commented on my live videos or my posting or anything like that. I continued to show up and I continued to grow through my business. But on the day after Christmas, on December 26th of just this past Christmas, I was all in my head because I remember asking Em a question, and I said, what would be your advice to the girl who has had a slow growing season? And she said, and I saved it on my phone, she said, don't speak that over your business. She said, double your efforts and know that you don't have a slow growing season. You have whatever season you're telling yourself, right? And that couldn't be further from the truth, because whenever I was talking to Katie, she told me, like, you're all in your head, because I was telling her all these things I was feeling. I was telling her all of these, I was telling her my circumstances is what I was telling her. I was like, I've been here this long. My team is this big. This is what I did in November. This is what I did in December. And like, I was just kind of like all in my feels on that day. And she was like, what are you doing? She was like, do you not remember that Zoom that you did with over 200 people on our team? And you were the first one to talk on that Zoom, and you talked for 4Ks. And I remember when somebody said, hey, I want Amber to talk for the 4K spot, I was like, who's Amber? And then you got on that Zoom and you talked, and she said it was one of the most powerful Zooms I've ever heard. And she said, you better go back and listen to that Zoom right now, because apparently you need to listen to it right for your own message. And she was like, you're all in your head, right? And I thought about it for a while. I was like, I'm not in my head. Maybe. Am I? Maybe I am. And I don't know. I know that I've shared with you guys before that I listened to your virtual upline. Bob Heilig is the guy that does Your Virtual Upline. It's a podcast. He has a Legacy Leadership Academy. I've thought about for a very long time about joining that academy, but I never wanted to pay for it, right? I was just like, oh, I'm not at that place in my business yet where I can just be paying for things. And then I looked at it. It was, I looked at it a couple days after I talked to Katie, and I looked at the price of it and it was on sale, but it was not going to be on sale but for like 2 more days. And I was like, well, shoot, if I could sell like 2 or 3 samples, I've paid for it every month, right? And so I made it a goal to myself. I said, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to sign up for this course because my team needs me to grow. I apparently need me to grow. And one of the things that we've been going through in the very beginning of this course is talking about mindset. And just because you get past that undertow and you get to smooth waters, it doesn't mean that it's all smooth sailing. It doesn't mean that you are not going to have bad days. It doesn't mean that you are perfect. It doesn't mean that you move forward in your business and you are fearless. It just means that you see the fear and you don't let it run you don't let it run you. Okay? You maybe see a small paycheck and it doesn't shatter you, right? Because you know that you're not staying there, right? And when you go all in, like I said, you're the only one that's going to know when you go all in. I cannot tell you what it's going to feel like, but going all in and hitting your VIPs, I don't want you guys to associate those two together. There are millionaires in our company who never hit their VIPs. And there are people that come in and they hit their VIPs and they never make another penny. Those have nothing to do with each other, but it's the emotional resilience to know, hey, I'm not going to let my emotions overtake me. And so I want to go into kind of like a how do you go all in sort of thing. Like, yeah, Amber, that sounds great, but like, how will I know when I've gone all in? Or how will I know, like, how do you get to that point, right? Number one is that mindset. You guys, I used to not do live videos when Sean was in the house, right? Because I was worried about what he was going to think about what I was saying. If I can't do a live video when my husband is in the house, what does that tell me about my mindset? I used to not do live videos on my back porch because I was worried about my neighbor seeing me and thinking I was crazy. So if I can't do a live video on my back porch, what does that tell me about my mindset? Right? And I had to really check myself with this course that I did. So I'm going to kind of bring you guys through a little, what's the word? Worksheet. Okay. Number 1 is mindset. Number 2 is focus and intention. Number 3 is planning. All right. And then I want you guys to write, we're going to go through the mindset portion, but I want you guys to write, if you have a blank piece of paper, at the top of the paper, I want you to write circumstance and put a big square around it with some space inside the square where you can write your circumstance down. So you write circumstance at the top of the paper, draw a line underneath it if you need to, so that you can write something on it, and then either circle it or square it at the top of your page, circumstance. And then I want you on the left side of your paper to make 4 lines on the left side, 4 lines on the right side. So you've got 8 lines underneath circumstance. You've got 4 on the left, 4 on the right. Let me show you what it looks like a little bit. Ooh. So you've got circumstance at the top, and then you've got, whoa, that's hard to see. 4 lines, 4 lines. Did you see it? Can you see? Kind of line, 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 line. At the bottom, I want you to put another big bubble at the bottom. So the thing at the top that we're going to go over is your, I know Harriet listened to it. I think maybe Karen did. Did you listen to your virtual upline changing your core story, where he was talking about, like, you look down on the sidewalk and you see a 6, and your whole life you're like, it's a 6, it's a 6, it's a 6. And everybody says, yeah, it's a 6. Till one day you realize, like, wait a minute, maybe it's a 9. Right? Do you remember that? Okay.
I
So
didn't watch that one, but I did watch, I do remember watching some of that upline, your virtual upline, some of the ones that you share in the chat, but I don't think I caught that one.
okay, I can share that one in our chat. It's a really good one about changing your core story, which we're going to go over a little bit. And so at the top, we said circumstance. At the 4 lines at the bottom, I mean, in the middle, I want you to put, in between the top 2 of your 4, I want you to put story. And then you go to the second 2. I want you to put feeling. The third row of lines on both sides, I'm in the middle, put action. And then the last 4 in the middle, put result. So it's story, feeling, action, result. And this is, he just kind of has a different way of wording it. Remember, I've told you before, like the thermostat analogy, where if you change the way that you feel about yourself and what you believe about yourself, it's going to change the way that you show up in your business, which in result changes the results that you get. This is kind of the same thing. It's just he words it a little different. So at the top, you've got your circumstance bubble, and then you've got your 4 lines. You've got your story, feeling, action, result. And then at the bottom, you've got this big bubble at the bottom. Got it? Okay. And then I want, if you have another piece of paper, we are going to write down, where did you put it? I flagged it, Amber. Okay. If you have another piece of paper, write this down. Write down all the things about yourself that you feel like are keeping you from creating the level of success and impact that you want. Write it down so you can go back to it. So say, write down all the things about yourself that you feel are keeping you from creating the level of success and making the impact that you want. And so maybe you say things to yourself like, I'm not a strong leader. Or maybe you say, I haven't created much success yet in this business. Or maybe you say, I've never done anything like this before, so I don't really know what I'm doing. Or maybe you say that you have had a slow growing season, or that maybe you never hit your VIPs. And so you worry about your capabilities of helping somebody else hit their VIPs, right? Maybe you tell yourself that you're not good at enrolling promoters. Maybe you tell yourself that you're not good at selling samples, at enrolling customers. Maybe you worry about the opinions of others. Maybe you struggle with time management. Maybe you struggle with overwhelm. Maybe you have your own stories from your past that make you feel unworthy, right? What stories of I'm not blank enough do you have? I'm not good enough. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not smart enough, right? What stories do you have of not being enough? How has your past held you back? Is it your lack of experience and knowledge in any area? These are some of the things that he wrote down. Has lack of time been an issue for you? What physical attributes have held you back? Maybe you feel like you're too young. Maybe you feel like you're too old. Maybe, you know what I mean? Everything that I said to you about maybe you feel like is literally everything I wrote down about myself. And when you have a moment, a quiet moment, I want you in private to write down some of the things that you actually tell yourself. Because you might be telling yourself some really ugly things. And in return, we're sitting here trying to be a light on our social media. But when the door is closed, you don't feel like you're enough, or you don't feel like you're worthy, or you feel like you're growing slow, or you feel like you haven't had much success. And so who's going to listen to what you have to say? Right? And so I want you to write down the way you're actually talking to yourself, because when I wrote all these down, I was like, well, holy crap. I was like, Amber, you thought you weren't in your head, right? Until you start taking this course, right? And you realize you are in your head. And so what he says, I want you to do that on your own, but he says to write all that down, and he puts in here, he's like, burn it or whatever, but I don't want to burn it, but I want to come back to it later, because there's going to be moments in our business where we are on fire. There's going to be moments in our business when nothing can shake us, when a low paycheck can't shake us, when people leaving our business can't shake us, when somebody being negative in our comments can't shake us, right? There's going to be moments like that. And I want you to come back to what you wrote down, and I want you to say, wow, I have grown. Okay. And because you went first and you decided to do the hard work and you decided that you were going to grow, in return, you get to help the next girl do the same thing, because she's going to come in and she's going to say, well, I just don't know if I can do it. I don't know. I've never done anything like this. I'm not a leader. I don't know if I could get anybody to buy from me. Right? I don't know if I have time. I'm chasing babies, doing virtual learning. I have a job. There's all these obstacles that we have to help other people overcome to be able to overcome their own limiting beliefs. But there is no chance that we can help them do that if we can't get over our own BS first. And you may think you have your BS sorted out, and come to find out that you don't, right? So hi, hello, here I am. So anyways, I want you guys to write that down in private. And then I'll get into the last part of this. How long? It's been 30 minutes. Okay. I'll get into the last part here in a second. But when we get off of here tonight, the second power story I want you to do, because that's a powerful story, what you write down, what you actually tell yourself, right? Don't be afraid of writing it down and thinking that you writing down that you're not a good leader is going to make you not be a good leader, right? If it's something that you feel about yourself, you've said to yourself in the past, I want you to write it down, because that right there we have to overcome. We have to crumble that up. We have to burn that. We have to put that in the past and move forward. But the second thing I want you to do at some point this week, I want you to write a story to yourself 5 years from now, telling yourself how proud you are that you didn't give up, and telling yourself in detail what your life looks like because you didn't give up. How many lives have you changed because you didn't give up, and because you didn't listen to that story, to those mean things that you wrote down on that piece of paper? And how do your kids look at you differently because you didn't give up? What kind of woman are you able to be? Can you give back to your community? Do you have time freedom? What number? What's the number of debt that you've paid off? I'll tell you right now, I have 81,000. My eyes are terrible. $81,524.47 in debt that I'm trying to pay off. 81,000. I haven't changed the number, but I've been coloring in puzzle pieces. You guys see me coloring puzzle pieces. It's not a matter of how fast you go. It's a matter of that you eventually get there because you put a plan together to get there. And how many people have you inspired to do the same thing? How many mamas have you helped pay for diapers? How many mamas have you brought home from working full time? Right? What does your house look like 5 years from now? Are you able to help your kids pay for college? Are you able to have a savings account to not stress over if somebody has an emergency room bill or emergency surgery, or if something happens to a pet, or if the car breaks down, right? In June, we lost a cat and Sean was home with back problems. We spent over $8,000, and that's nothing. Some people pay a lot of money when life hits you in the face, but we spent over $1,000 in stuff like that, unexpected stuff. And we were still able to breathe. Okay. So 5 years from now, are you able to breathe? What kind of life have you created? I want you to write it down in detail, right? I wrote that letter to myself and I said things like, I'm so proud that you didn't give up because you now have a beautiful, safe home for your family. And you have that playroom over the garage that comes down into the kitchen, and you've got cinnamon rolls cooking, and the kids, your girls, their friends want to stay at your house because they know that they are loved and they are cared for there and they are safe, right? And you're able to give back to your community, and you're able to have that time freedom because you're no longer bound by a time clock, and you're a debt-free family, right? And maybe that letter, we start paying attention to that letter a little bit more than the negative things that we write down on that other piece of paper. Okay? Because when we start paying attention to the positive things, to the good mamas that we are, to the good humans that we are, the good souls that we have, the gold hearts that we have, right? When we start paying attention to that, we show up a little bit differently on our social media, right? So I'm going to give you a couple more pointers, but those are the big takeaways I wanted you to get from tonight. I want you to write down what you're actually telling yourself. And then I want you to write a letter to yourself 5 years from now because you didn't give up. So number 2, we're going to move on from mindset. Number 2, we're going to talk about focus and intention. How do you carry yourself every day? Carrying yourself every day matters. Okay. Karen was kind of touching on it just a little bit in the beginning about getting a late start. I still have days where I get a late start and I feel like I've dropped the ball and I feel like, maybe I hit snooze or something, but most days I try to set my alarm for 4:44. No, do I want to wake up at 4:44? No. Okay. But I also don't want to work full time as a nurse forever. And I understand that I have things I have to sacrifice for this business. And there's no way in hell I can wake up 30 minutes before I have to leave the door, check in with you guys and see what you guys need, maybe inspire you a little bit, listen to some self-development, check in with my messages, do some around the IPAs. There's no way I can make that happen. So I know that I have to get up early. That's just me. But focus on how do you carry yourself every day. I want you to focus on protecting your energy. Some people work better in the morning. I work way better in the morning than I do at night. You get me at night, if it's 9 o'clock at night and I haven't put up a post for the day and I haven't done any IPAs because I slept in late and I just decided I was going to hit snooze because I was tired and I worked 12 hours, I'm just like, beep, 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 beep. I'm so mean to my husband. I'm just like, don't talk to me. I got to put a post up. I got to do it. I'm like, who am I? No. But I can get up at 4:44 in the morning and no, I don't want to get up, but I get up and I move my body out into that living room, not my ass in the bed. I move out into that living room and I put on my peaceful music and I do my self-development. And no, do I want to wake up at 4:44 in the morning, but come whatever time, 6:45 in the morning when my kids wake up and I got to get them dressed for school and it's like boom, 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 we got to go. I've at least accomplished something for my day and I'm not running around with my hair on fire. And you have to treat this like a business so that it will pay you like a business. We can't just post like 2 times a week and think that people are magically going to come into our inbox, right? We have to be passionate about the products that we sell and the business that we have to offer to people. But protect your energy. And maybe first thing in the morning, if you're a morning person, I don't know, but maybe first thing in the morning, you don't check your phone. Maybe you spend a little bit of time with your eyes closed in prayer. Maybe you're in gratitude, talking about the things that you're so grateful for, despite this crazy world we live in right now, right? Maybe you spend your first parts of your morning doing that, because I'll tell you, you wake up first thing in the morning and you get into that habit of looking at your phone and clicking on Instagram and clicking on Facebook. Boom, you have just effed up your day because you are going to stumble across somebody who's not happy, somebody who's saying something about the president, somebody who's saying something about vaccines, somebody, whatever, right? You're going to stumble across negativity. And if you have not prepared your armor, your mindset to be in a good mood, you might snap on people. You're not going to be responding to people the way that you would, right? You're going to get those cold messages from other companies and you're not going to handle it in the best way. Okay. So pour into yourself first so that when you do get those cold messages or you do get those negative inbox messages, you know how to handle it with grace, right? With kindness and with grace. Because I'll tell you, I have had people join us in this company through a cold message. Don't ever be rude to somebody who sends you a cold message. If they just like totally rub you the wrong way, don't respond. You don't have to respond to everybody that sends you a message. If it's negative, it's a cold message or whatever. There are plenty of people that I don't respond to, but if I get the vibe that they are a good person and I do want to get to know them, I am graceful with them. And I say, I'm very happy where I'm at, yada, yada, yada. And I keep the conversation going with them. So how do you carry yourself every day matters. Your habits are creating your results and your mindset is creating your habits. So my habits of waking up early are creating my results by me doing a round of IPAs in the morning before I have to go to work. My habits of, remember when I was getting up at 4:44 in the morning to go to the gym, my habits of getting up early to go to the gym were creating those kick-ass results that I had last year, right? Your habits are creating your results and your mindset is creating your habits, because your mindset is what's going to tell you to hit the snooze button. Your mindset's what's going to tell you to not be nice to people in your inbox, right? Your mindset is what's going to tell you maybe you can just throw up a quick like Pinterest quote instead of actually putting effort into a post. Been there. Okay, number 3 is plan. If you have not been on a planning Zoom, put it on your calendar. If you can make it on Sunday, this coming up Sunday, 11:30 a.m. Eastern. Those are a game changer. I didn't think I needed those until I got on one and I was like, holy crap, I totally don't have my together.
What
But
time is that?
Christina Tammy, huh?
What time is that?
It's 11:30 on Sunday, 11:30 a.m. Eastern. I have
That's
not
cutting it close. I'm in
I've
church.
You have church. I haven't seen her. If I find one that she records, I'll send it to you, or we can kind of go over it another, like maybe in our chat or something. I can share with you guys some of the tips that she's given on there, that
That
help me
works.
organize my week. Okay, so a goal without a plan is a dream. I also wrote down intentional mornings. For me, it's mornings. For you, it might be evenings. It might be like I can crank out all this once the kids go to bed. For me, it's waking up a little bit early, getting that stuff done so that I am in a better mindset for the day. Number 3, IPAs. When are you more productive? That's what I was saying. Like, are you more productive in the morning or at night? Scheduling Zoom on Sundays and team trainings. Are you making it a priority to show up to your team trainings? Because if you cannot show up to your team trainings, how do you expect your team to show up to their team trainings? Okay. Let's see. What days are you going to go live this week? I will get into that in our chat a little bit. I know that Harriet has gotten on, I think, a Sunday Zoom, planning Zoom. Karen, I don't know if you have or not, but Harriet and I can kind of bounce back some tips that we took away from those Zooms, and we can do that in the Overcomers chat. And one thing she says on there, like, what day are you available to go live, especially if you work full time or you work outside the home? What day does it work best for you? Write it down on your calendar. How are you growing? What are you reading? What podcasts are you listening to? Are you making that a priority in your week? And at the end of the day, you cannot get disappointed in the work you didn't do. I heard that on a podcast and I was like, well, damn. Like, if that ain't the truth, like, you can't be mad if you didn't do any IPAs. You can't be mad when nobody gets in your inbox, right? You can't be mad if you didn't sell a sample this week if you never talked to that and said that you had samples available, right? I mean, like, let's just call a spade a spade. And then the last thing I want to leave you with, this like really hit me in the heart when I listened to it yesterday. Somebody, I forget what I was listening to, a podcast training, I have no idea. She said, does your mindset keep you warm at night? And I was like, what the hell does that mean? She said, does your mindset keep you warm at night? Meaning, this world is crap right now, but I want you to think about everything, not trying to scare you, that could be taken away from you. We could lose our job, right? We could lose our family. We could lose our friends. We could lose our home. We could lose the clothes on our back. We could lose a child. We could lose a parent. All these things, right? That sometimes we take for granted. If everything was taken away from you and you were stripped down to yourself, would you be overcome by the tides? Or would you say, I got this, game on, I can go up from here, right? Does your mindset keep you warm at night, or are you living in fear, right? I could be living in so much fear right now. We all could be living in so much fear right now. I protect my mind. I don't turn on the news. I can't. I literally cannot. I am a nurse married to a firefighter in the middle of coronavirus, and it's getting worse. Okay. And I cannot sit here and listen to the news. There are times I come home and my husband like tries to be negative or he says a comment, and I'm just like, you go away with that. Like, I'm not going to talk to you right now. You're being negative. And he's just like, what is wrong with you? I'm like, there is nothing wrong with me. I'm not listening to that crap right now. You just take that somewhere else. I'm going to go in the bedroom. Like, I can't even listen to you right now, but I do not allow it. Somebody tries to come at me. They're being negative. They have something to say about some or another. They're bringing me their drama. I'm like, boo, I ain't got time for that. Like, we got other things we got to do. We got to stay focused, because if I let my mindset go down the path of, My numbers in my hospital have tripled over the last like 2 weeks, right? Holy crap. Holy crap. My husband's a firefighter and he could bring the virus home. I could bring the virus home. My kids, what happens if my kids get it? What happens if my mom gets it? Like, no, right? I can't live in that moment. Okay. So at night, is your mindset going to keep you warm? Are you going to be protected by that armor that you're building every single day of not accepting the other people's BS, of not accepting other people's opinions, of not worrying about what other people think about you when you go live or you post or whatever, right? If you get in your lowest low, because the point is not to avoid the lows are going to come. The tide's going to bring you back in this business. It always will. There will always be, I don't want to say slow weeks, but there will always be times when you're not going to be as high as you once were. And if you continue to sit in fear that you'll never be able to build back up to what you once had, then your mindset's not keeping you warm at night. Your mindset's keeping you in fear. Does that make sense? So, homework. Write down the things that you're telling yourself on that one piece of paper. On the second piece of paper, I want you to write I want you to write a note to yourself 5 years from now. And then we didn't really go through the circumstance one, but at the top with that one that says circumstance, what is your circumstance? What's your number one thing that's holding you back? Is it that you're new and you don't know what you're doing? Is it that you worry about what other people think about you? Like our number one is going to be different for each one of us. But what's the number one thing that holds you back? Write that down under circumstance. Is it that you've not had success in network marketing before, so you're worried that you're not going to have it with this company? Is it that you've never done network marketing before like me and you worry that if it's something that you can create? Is it that you worry that you might not be a good leader? Right? I want you to think about that. What's your circumstance? Is it that you don't have a large team right now? Is it that you haven't signed a customer in X amount of time, whatever it looks like for you? Write down your circumstance. On your story, what's the story that you told yourself? The story that you told yourself. For me, I wrote down, I'm not a strong leader, which makes me feel like I'm not worthy of doing A, B, and C, right? Which in result gives me the action of not going live to talk about my business, right? Can you see how it all trickles down? Which in result gives me a slow growing season because I was too scared to talk about my business because I was worried that I wasn't going to be a good leader. Does that make sense? Do you see how it all climbs back up? The story that you're telling yourself is creating the feelings of not being enough, of not being worthy, which in result is creating what action in your business? Are you not posting as much? Are you not going face to face on your stories? Are you too scared to go face to face on your stories? Are you too scared to post about your products and your business? Which at the end gives you your result. And at the bottom, that bubble at the very bottom of that piece of paper is the story that you need to tell yourself. Like, I might not be a strong leader right now, but leadership is something I can grow, right? I may not have signed more than 2 customers, but that's something I can get better at. I can get better at my conversations with people. I can research on the team page conversations or customers. That team page is a plethora of golden information. Here I am, 8:51. Told you guys I didn't want to be here long. So right down at the very bottom, your new green light story. We've done that training before where we talked about red light versus green light. Your red light story is all those negative things that you put on that other piece of paper that you're going to spend some time on later and actually dive into and see what it is that you're telling yourself. Your green light story are the things that you need to start telling yourself in despite of the things that you wrote down on that other piece of paper. Example being, if you write down, I'm not a good leader, then you write down on your green light story, I'm not a strong leader yet, but I'm growing, right? Flip it around a little bit. And then I want you to focus on that 5-year letter. All right. I'm gonna hop off here, you guys. Go get some rest. I love you all. I hope this was helpful. And we will go through probably tomorrow. I will start going through some of those scheduling tips that I learned from Christina that will help you get organized with your week. Okay. Love you guys. Bye.